And we continue the talk shop in Studio 255 at the Laramie Plains Civic Center, brought to you in part by Dan Pasman, Union Home Mortgage, 208 Grand Avenue in historic downtown Laramie. Our guest every Tuesday with a credit tip or two. And today we're talking first-time home buyer and little conventional loan information today on credit tips.
Yeah. Hey, couple quick things here. One is the last episode we did before Palmer and I did the draft show last week was we had talked about I talked about the FA agency, and then I had didn't follow up and say what that acronym meant for it. That is the Federal Housing Finance Agency. That was one of the things. And that is the governmental agency that oversees the pricing grids on mortgages and that type of thing. Bill Pulte is runs that agency right now, which happens to be a relative of Pulte Homes, which is one of the major home builders in the U.S. The other thing, real quick, after I spit it out of my mouth last time, I realized I probably screwed up, but you get too busy going down the road. On a WCDA first-time homebuyer program for the state of Wyoming, the borrower's minimum contribution into that transaction is $1,500, and I said $2,000, but it's actually $1,500. So the borrower only has to contribute $1,500 of their own money if they're looking to go down that road.
And I think maybe 20 years ago it might have been 500. I mean, things change. You always have different criteria. You could have something be a fact yesterday, and all the rules can change on a new Monday.
Oh yeah, it's the only consistent thing in the mortgage is change.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate that corrections and updates and follow through, fact checking. Yeah. Always respected here on the program. This is Laramie's hometown voice on 93.5 FM with Union Home Mortgage. Dan Pasman, you and Palmer picking the pros in the draft with us at Bernie's, and Pepsi being a part of our show as well as Bernie's Mexican Restaurant in West Laramie, 367 Clark Street. And it was really fun to visit with you and Palmer, and your energy and your passion for all of the positions, be it edge rushers or quarterbacks. You guys know your stuff.
Oh, we're football junkies. A good weekend in the Pasman house is a Wyoming Cowboys game on Saturday and a Broncos home game on Sunday.
Did you make the spring game last Saturday at War Memorial? We
did not make the spring game. I was at the Home and Garden Show, had a booth set up there, so we did make the spring game. But hearing good things, people are very optimistic for the season coming. This quarterback they brought in for this next year should be really interesting to see how he does. And you have this new offensive coordinator that had to spend time with the Buffalo Bills. I'm hearing really good things about him. And I mean, they got a lot of great guys on that staff.
What does it take for a head coach entering his third year, 7 wins cumulative in the prior first 2 years, those first 2 seasons, 7 wins, to go out and pick a Bills pro coach to come to Wyoming? I think that spells a lot of integrity and grit for Jay Savelle as a leader of Wyoming Cowboy football. What he's willing to do to hire a champion like that from a National Football League caliber coaching staff.
Yeah, and the good thing about him is that he's got some pro experience, but he's also got a wealth of college experience as well. I believe before he went to the Buffalo Bills, I believe William and Mary was his last stop in the college ranks, and he did really well there. So, bringing guys in that have that well-rounded experience it's key, and it's key to recruiting guys. I mean, the thing about college athletics in today's world is that there's and it's always been there, but I think it's more so than maybe had, and especially 20 to 30 years ago, is that there's this extra thirst to get to the next level. What do I do to become pro? What do I give myself to do to give myself a shot at the NFL? That's not so much they're not as happy with just a college degree anymore, which I think that was the end goal of a lot of times. And so in Wyoming, when you have a guy like that who has worked with a Josh Allen, has that pro experience, is successful in college, and guys can see that they're going to come here and play and work with the guy who has some experience on what it takes to get to that next level, it's a great recruiting tool.
When you talk mortgage, tell us about what's unique about Union Home Mortgage. Tell us about what you make unique about it. Obviously, there's only one, Dan Pasman.
Well, I mean, one of the things is it's experience. I'm going on 20 years of experience in the mortgage industry, and I think that is huge. When I bought my first house and I got into the mortgage world, rates were 6.5%. And it's kind of funny. 19 years later, you see rates back where they're at currently. I think too is people come in and they want to buy a first house and look at it and they look, wow, that's it's expensive. The rate is high. And I can tell you when I bought my first mortgage right around 6.25, it was high. It was a stretch, but I can also look at it across the desk and say it was worth it.
And I would say that many a home purchased by somebody just happy to get the deal done.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That just there's some that you want to get it done with as little brain damage as possible, and take a look at it and make sure that you take the right approach on the mortgage up front on how to get something done for them, because this is the biggest thing that someone is going to buy in their life, and you want someone to trust you with that, and that's a big thing for me, because at the end of the day, this is about putting families into homes. A home is the American dream to still many, many people. It's kind of strange over time. You watch people that buy homes sight unseen, and you see more of that happen than they used to. But in the majority of times, buying a house is a big thing for a family, and it's the best part it's the best part about this job. It's watching people grow their families, grow their lives, and being a part of that.
As you did the 2026 Laramie Home Improvement Show, that was at the Laramie Ice and Events Center, and a spectacular day for weather, great for a lot of people getting outside. What were the top questions that people brought to your table, Dan, at the show?
The big parts is that, taking a look at it and people asking, kind of what the state of the market is. They may be looking to get in, maybe looking to buy. You get a lot of questions on people, especially being a home improvement show, is about, hey, I want to do remodel to my house. What avenues do you have to finance those remodels? And that's one of the things that with Union we're really strong at. Our renovation loan projects is really strong. We have the conventional 5% down renovation project loans, the FHA 403k, which is a 3.5% down renovation loan, USDA rural housing renovation loan, and we've just recently added the VA renovation.
Are those
loan.
based on equity as the backing and the support for the two loans you mentioned, or in home improvement, is there a percentage of total market value that's permitted, or how are those structured?
So what the person wanting to renovate their home, they'll go out and get all the information on all the renovations they want to do to the home. Whether it's a house they currently own or the one they want to buy, you can do it on purchases too. Go out and get all the information. We give that information to an appraiser. The appraiser then appraises the house on a to be upgraded condition. So they will give you what they believe the value of the house would be after all the improvements are made to it. And then we will lend up to 95% loan to value on a conventional loan. So if you're going to buy the house for, let's say, $60,000, and you want to do, $30,000 of repairs, and the appraiser comes back and says, oh yeah, after you get all this done, this house now will be worth $100,000. You have the room within that loan to give them the money to make draws on as the work is done.
Yeah.
Now the positive side of that is you can get a lot of work done, and you can do that. I will tell people the downside on those loans is that the do-it-yourselfers, that's not necessarily a good avenue for the do-it-yourselfers, because of there's federal money, federally backed money involved with these loans, so you're going to have to get a contractor to do the work for you. Now, if you're a do-it-yourselfer and you want to do it over time, there's other ways you can look at going through that door.
We talked and promised folks first-time buyer information. As credit tips today, where do you take us with respect to first-time borrowers?
So you get into conventional first-time home loans. We talk about like the WCDA and the FHA and the VA options, but there's some people that just don't fit those holes. Like WCDA, they make too much money, but yet don't have a lot of down payment. What do you do to help those folks? The nice thing on a conventional loan is that you can be a first-time home buyer and put as little as 3% down on a house. Now, your interest rate, mortgage insurance, those types of things are going to be priced off of your credit score, and those things will become very credit score sensitive because you're borrowing so much money on the house. But you can find that's one of the great things about conventional loans, and you can get in with 3% down, and you have the ability to cancel your mortgage insurance when you get that equity spot to an 80% on it. And there becomes a lot of quirks inside the conventional world too, is that depending on what your income level is, there's other 3% programs that you may qualify for. And we talk about the FHFA, the Federal Housing Finance Agency. Mm-hmm. They have some special things for folks that if their median income is below the 100% mark on things, that they can get some special pricing grid exceptions to help keep their interest rate down on those things. So help people there. But if you have somebody, and having a down payment is a problem, and they don't meet income limits, things like that, there are still options out there for them to get in the home with a really small down payment. Helped a lot of folks with that over the time, and that's not completely uncommon to run into. Several folks, like you'll have people who work at the university never have had a home before. They've paid down a lot of student debt, so they've never saved a lot of down payment money. But yet, between a husband and wife, they make over the limits on a lot of these programs. You have 3% down, you can still get them set up, get them started in the right direction. Because one thing about Laramie, as I always tell folks, is that we're in a very frustrating housing market from a down payment standpoint. Because you say, okay, I should save $20,000 before I probably should look to buy a house. You save $20,000, and that house that was listed for $250, and 2 years later is now listed for $270. So why did what you just saved kind of gets just a repeating cycle. So a lot of times Laramie, if you're going to stay in Laramie, I recommend people get in sooner than later.
Yeah, it's never in the trending of Laramie, Wyoming. It's never been a bad investment to get into real estate.
Yeah.
It's really common to be one of the best opportunities you have for wealth gain. When you got into the financial industry 20 years ago, Dan, did you foresee doing this at the helm of an organization like UNIONHOME Mortgage? Did you foresee that type of vision in your career?
I didn't know quite it would get to this point. I worked in financial institutions for a long time. I always enjoyed it. It was really good to me. But as longer you go on, you kind of figure out that maybe it's time to try something a little bit different. And I was very, very picky on who I would talk to and when I would talk to them. A lot of companies have called me over the years. There's ways with your NMLS number to go back and look at your production numbers on the back side. And so a lot of companies would look at my production numbers and call me.
Data divers, huh?
Yeah, data divers. And they would call me, and I was just, they just never had anything I was interested in. And I think a big thing with finding, doing what I'm doing with UNIONHOME Mortgage is you have to find a company who's a fit for your community. And with Union, I believe I found that someone who was a fit for Laramie, who had the same values that people in Laramie have, and are willing to offer things that, maybe other people haven't offered.
When was UNIONHOME Mortgage originated nationwide?
UNIONHOME Mortgage has been around a long time. I'll say it's about the last, I'm going to say 5 to 10 years that they've kind of pushed to become a national company. They were a Midwestern regional company for many, many years. And Mr. Cosgrove, who I saw last week at our big yearly meetings in Portland, had acquired the company. It's an interesting story how he acquired the company. It was a mortgage shop in Cleveland, and the gentleman who owned it before Mr. Cosgrove wanted to sell him the company, but could not afford to pay him to run the company while he acquired it. So Mr. Cosgrove took the company over and basically bought it out from him as he worked the company, and now built a good company. We now have a large campus in Strongsville, Ohio, which is a suburb of Cleveland. They took over 2 old ITT technical institution buildings there that when they went bankrupt, and redid them, and and looking at taking the company to a national company. We're getting there slowly but surely. The big thing is in mortgage, everything's changing. Everything gets bigger. When the first mortgage meltdown happened with the Great Recession back in 07, 08, I had made a prediction at that point in time that we'd probably get to a point in time in the U.S. that we were going to have 10 mortgage companies. They were going to weed it down to about 10 companies, and
a lot of acquisitions,
people disappearing.
Yeah,
because the margins have become thinner and thinner in the mortgage business. So you have to get bigger, and so while that has slowly come true, I think you watching the mortgage footprint shrink. The mortgage footprint has really shrunk with the last 4 years of what we've been through, and UNIONHOME Mortgage's goal is to become a top 20 lender in the United States, and we're sitting about 30 right now. So we're getting closer, but we're taking the steps to do all the things, the good technology, things and owning our technology, which is the stuff it's going to be required to do to be successful in mortgage long term.
We're visiting with Dan Pasman, UNIONHOME Mortgage, 208 Grand Avenue in historic downtown Laramie. Our guest every Tuesday on the program, the Talk Shop, Laramie's hometown voice on 93.5 FM. And Dan, any other closing thoughts or how do people reach you?
Reach me in my office down at 208 Grand Avenue, East Grand Avenue, downtown Laramie. My office number, 307-223-8852, is also a great way of getting a hold of me. 307-761-0707 is my cell phone. Love the opportunity to help anyone out. Make an appointment just to come down and see. We look at numbers and take a look at and figure out where we need to be to move your dreams forward.
And Palmer Pasman, we wish you the best, young man, in your track meet this Saturday. And where's that track meet going to be?
Here in Laramie.
Right in here in Laramie. And that going to be an opportunity for Palmer to exceed, like you do in broadcast, young man. You are fantastic. And to your parents, kudos. Delilah, Dan, congratulations.
Thank you.